Can I have your attention, please? We'll get the meeting underway. Good evening, everybody. I'm Brian Cowan, the chair of the board, and I welcome everybody to this very special meeting of our members this evening to consider a proposal before us to look at rebuilding our greens and along with the master plan. So a couple of first things I need to ask. Brenda, was the meeting called as per our constitution? Appropriately? Thank you. And do we have quorum? Yes. Oh, good. Fantastic. Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So let me get started. So the purpose of the meeting tonight is to vote on a special resolution to rebuild the 17 greens in conjunction with the master plan. Just going to give you a little bit of background over the next couple of minutes here, just to refresh everybody's memory. Most of you have been looking at the website and following along with that, going to the town hall meetings and asking questions and so on, but this will just give you a quick summary of where we are. So beginning with the annual meeting in May of this particular year, golf members came forth and were concerned about the state of the greens and the use of the temporary greens due to the winter injury. So over the last 11 years, we've had 6 occurrences where the greens have not weathered that well over the winter due to ice and weather changing patterns. So a lot of this has to do because they were built in 1931. The underlying structure of the greens themselves and the materials used at that time, the drainage and so on, are not quite what they are today. The green staff have been working over the last 14 years with USGA and others to look at ways that we can improve the greens such that they wouldn't weather the way they have. And none of the things that have been tried are sustainable and working, and hence rebuilding of the greens is what's seen as being needed. Members asked the board of directors to look into rebuilding the greens, and that's essentially what we've done. Oops, sorry, I missed that slide. The board of directors then went ahead and put together an implementation committee headed by Chris Golding to go out and talk to our membership about what it is that they'd like to see take place at this golf course and how perhaps we might rebuild these greens. So with that, 10 focus groups took place. 85 members came forth during July and August timeframe, and a recommendation came forth at that time from the implementation committee that recommended that Cutten Fields invest in its most important asset, the golf course, by rebuilding the greens in conjunction with the master plan in a one-time project over the course of 1 year. Once that was in hand, the board of directors then met, had a very good conversation, and management brought forth a recommendation that built on this implementation committee recommendation. And with that was approved, went forth to the finance committee for, again, a review. Finance committee then returned to the board of directors, and at that point in time, it was unanimously approved to move forward to this meeting. And essentially was to take and rebuild 17 greens in conjunction with the master plan, proceed to this special meeting that we're here tonight to gain approval to move forward on this project. Now, from a communications point of view, there's a number of things that have taken place, and I think many of you have been part of this, which has just been outstanding. So there's been 6 newsletters that Chris Golding and myself have put out to the membership over the last number of months. We've had 9 or more tours of the Guelph Turf Grass Institute next door to give you a feel for what bent grass and 007 and the underlying conditions that support those greens are all about. The 10 focus groups that we talked about with 85 members that have come forth and participated to give us that insight. 2 town hall meetings where we've taken questions and hopefully presented some of the background towards this project with 92 members participating in those town halls. The website's been continually updated, and for those that are following the Q&As, there's actually 44 questions and answers that are currently out there for your review as well. So I think from a communications point of view, we've tried very much to involve everybody, be as transparent as absolutely possible, so everybody's aware of what we're trying to accomplish here and put it before the members for their consideration. With that, I'd like to move the next one over to Grant Robinson, Chair of our Finance Committee, to share some of the financials.
Thank you, folks. We did a look ahead. The question was, can we afford to do what we're going to do, working within our annual fees with normal 1-2% increases, capital levy staying the same? Does this program work? We looked out over 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. We have different sources of revenue, including our capital levy, initiation income. We release our golf carts from our operating fund. And in the past, our operations have generated an income which, at the end of the year, that income moves into the capital fund to be used so that we can reinvest in the golf. So anything we make stays here. What you see starting in 2021 is we've looked at what might happen to our membership and our course usage in the event that we undertake this project. It's a 1-year working with no less than 9 greens, but 1 year to get the construction out of the way. We've planned for a $700,000 deficit in operations, because the reality of it is we have about a $2.7 million budget for this program. We need to borrow somewhere between $1.9 million and $2.1 million from the university. We have a truly unique tool in what the university has provided us with. We pay a little less than $70,000 a year rent, so that's quite reasonable. But on the other hand, our obligation is to invest in a golf course, and we've invested $7 million so far since 2005. The other side is the university is backing the loan. The university, we build off of their interest rate. So we actually have access to funds without any of us having to go on a hook on a personal guarantee or a special assessment. The program actually held together that we could fund our operations. Now, the operations, we know we'll lose things like tournaments. The question is, as members, do we see that this is a good project? Because it is. We plan to do renovations, but we planned it over a period of time. This is making sure that we borrow money from the university, from the bank, with the university backing. It's a 15-year amortization. You'll see we plan that the amortization will be about $126,000 in principal a year going forward. Over the last 13 years, we've been paying $133,000 in principal every year. So it's affordable in terms of where we're at. We don't have to put up fees, we don't have to change capital, and we don't have to sign personal guarantees. And that is the financial overview.
Thanks, Grant. So the resolution before us tonight, and I'll read through it here. Whereas the Board of Directors wishes to rebuild 17 greens in conjunction with the approved master plan. And whereas the bylaws of the Guelph Cutten Club require approval of the members by way of a special resolution to authorize the Board of Directors to enter into any agreement that will obligate Guelph Cutten Club to a total capital expenditure in any one fiscal year in excess of $500,000. And whereas the Board of Directors has approved a 3-year plan for capital improvements, and now, therefore, it be resolved that the Board of Directors are hereby authorized to request quotes and enter into a contract to rebuild 17 greens in conjunction with the master plan. I would ask that a motion be made in this manner. Matt Stanley, second by Jeff Smart. Thank you very much. I'd like to open it up for any questions from the members at this point in time. Seeing none, the traditional manner that we use at the club is to vote by hands. So I'd like to ask for the vote of all members now. Those that are in favor of this resolution, please raise your hands and your proxies and so on. Thank you very much. Thank you. Those that are not in favor of this resolution, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which make up a total, I would say that what we require here is 66 2/3%. we have what I see amongst us here, a resolution that is passed. With that, congratulations. It's an exciting time, folks, and thank you very much for being as involved in this process for the last number of months. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you very much. I'd ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you. And again, two great people that have supported this, Joan McVean and Brenda Woodsell, who've done a lot of work in making this happen. Thank you. Let's have a great, let's celebrate.